Welcome everyone. I'm playing a game of Axis and Allies Revised here. I used to play this game a lot in the past, and then you got the newer versions such as Axis and Allies Anniversary Edition, Global, even spin-offs such as Global 36. But I always used to enjoy this game a lot, and just happened to stumble upon it in the closet, and I thought, hey, let's take this one out again and let's give it a spin. And so this is the situation at the end of the Russian turn, which they actually go first in this game, and they took Western Russia from the Germans as well as Ukraine. As you can see, in Ukraine, they lost all their infantry support in the attack, so they only have tanks left. So maybe I should have limited my attack to just Western Russia, because the tanks are relatively expensive units, and so basically the Germans are pretty sure to retake it on their turn, and each hit will have to be taken by the tanks. So I'm not sure if that's worth it, but at least it will keep them away from Caucasus for a while, which is, of course, an important territory because it contains a factory. I also used one of the fighters here in Moscow in one of these two attacks, but it flew back to Moscow. The other one actually flew to India, which is allowed in this game. It's a bit weird, which is one of the reasons I've been playing a lot less of Axis and Allies, because I've been looking for games with a bit more historical accuracy to them. But in this game, it's allowed, and it actually makes sense to reinforce India. Also note that India starts with an industrial complex. That is because I'm using all the optional rules that come with this game, and one of them is that you're allowed to place an extra factory in one of your territories as the UK. The rule in question is called colonial garrison. What else did I do in non-combat? I moved the infantry from the Soviet Far East and Buryatia to this area, so that if the Japanese attack, I can form a new front line here. The fighter here could possibly also take part in some counterattacks there. This one I moved, I think it's Novosibirsk. I moved it from Ivensky National Okrug because I can reinforce Moscow if necessary. I can move it here if necessary, or I can move it into China, as I did with these two units, to shore up the defenses there if the Japanese attack this way. It's always a good idea to build a factory too, as the US player here, which is allowed in this game as well. I actually like that a lot, because in many of the other games, it just seems to be a bit too easy for Japan to just run over China, which certainly didn't happen in real life. And by moving some Russian troops here, I'm just considering them to be Chinese communists, and perhaps building a factory there, which could just be a mobilization and stuff. You can rationalize that as well, and then it actually gets somewhat defensible. At least you can hold up the Japanese for quite some time. I moved down to infantry from Kazakh SSR to Persia, because it's usually a good idea for the Russians and Brits to help each other out. So, and I bought, in the purchase units phase, I bought 8 infantry, of which I put 4 in Russia and 4 in Caucasus. And I have to admit, I really like that rule in Revised. In the subsequent editions, they moved away from it again, and they introduced factories that could place either, I believe, 3 or 10 units, if I'm not mistaken. But here it's actually limited to the territory's value. Which may not always be accurate, I have to say. Sometimes it's a bit too high, and other times it may be a bit too low, but yeah, I do like it. So this is the end of the Russian turn, and now the Germans are up next. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.